He's the coffee-loving gamer, nights are never tamer. Impatient and past don't go, watch that energy grow.
So, hello everybody, I'm the Impatient Imposter. Welcome back to another, postal related video. Today I got Mike J to do an interview, and I'll be asking you 19 questions, and if you don't know how to answer these questions, or if you don't want to answer them, you can tell me to skip them, and I will go to the next question.
Okay.
All right. So, can you share a bit about your background and your role at Running with Scissors?
Yeah, I started at Running with Scissors in late 2001. I met Vince through his son. I was in a computer class in high school with Vinny. His son's name is Vinny. And, he told me his dad owned a video game studio, and I didn't believe him. And lo and behold, he did own a video game studio. And so I met Vince. Just, he gave me a bunch of autographed crap. And then a few years later, just through happenstance, I ran into him again. We laughed, and he asked if I wanted to work at the company. So
Nice. Okay. Yeah, I'm probably going to skip the second question then because it's kind of similar. Well, I mean, maybe I could ask it, and yeah. Okay,
yeah.
so how did you get involved with Running with Scissors, and what has your journey with the company been like?
All over the map, my friend. We are an indie game studio, so
Mhm.
things are always up and down. We're not in this to make a ton of money because we just don't make a ton of money. We're very happy to just keep doing what we're doing.
Right.
But we we're always the underdog, right? We're the scapegoat of the industry. But we're lucky to still be here, right? Postal 2
Yeah.
came out to what we were hoping was regular fanfare after Postal 1 got the shit.
Mhm.
And then so we thought we were going to get a normal reception and a publisher and all that jazz, and of course not. It didn't matter that violent video games were out everywhere by
Mhm.
2003. Grand Theft Auto 3 was a phenomenon. It was like reliving 97 all over again. Like, we couldn't
Yeah.
find a publisher, and then when we did find a publisher, they were a small boutique piece of shit publisher. They couldn't get the game in any stores. Like anything else, people were like, fuck Postal.
Mhm.
And it's crazy to me that game is still what we sell the most of today. So
Really? Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's obviously after that we had some other major downs with Postal 3 and the movie.
Mhm.
But getting Postal 2 on Steam back in 2012 rejuvenated the company, and we were allowed to hire a bunch of modders that we had because of the
Mhm.
money that the game was making on Steam. So really 2012 to now has been a completely different story. So
Yeah. So, how would you describe the culture at Running with Scissors?
I mean, our team is made up almost exclusively of Postal fans. So at the end of the day, everybody that's working on the game is working on one of their favorite games. And so loyal is a good word we'd use. Excited, and just ready to work. As opposed to hiring people that are just looking for jobs, which I'm not totally against either.
Mhm.
We have a team full of Postal fans, and that doesn't always mean we have the best artists or the best programmers or the best animators, but we have good quality animators and programmers and artists, and they're just very into the product they're making. They're not doing it for a paycheck. I mean, they are getting paid, but they're not just doing it for a paycheck.
Okay. So I'm gonna skip question 4 because that's kind of no. So sorry.
Okay.
Question 5. What are some of the biggest creative challenges you face when developing a game, and how do you overcome them?
Well, to start, money is the number one challenge, right? Like, we're self-funded. We don't have a publisher. We don't have investors. We pay for
Hmm.
everything we do with our own royalties, which is crazy, but it also gives us the freedom to do what we want. But we obviously face a different issue, which is, what can we make and still be released all over the world on various platforms? I mean, we've witnessed plenty of censorship within the last 6 months, not just 25 years ago. I mean, uh, Postal 2, Postal 3 are still banned in Germany, and
Oh.
Germany's top 3 game sales in the world. And it's not like they're banning current games. They're not doing it. Postal 4 and Postal Brain Damage are not banned in Germany, but
Mhm.
Postal 1 and 2 are. And not only are they banned, their bans were reaffirmed. So, like, Postal 1 got put on the German index in 1997, and being indexed means you're on this index for 25 years. At the end of 25 years, you're supposed to fall off of it and you're supposed to be allowed to be sold. But when Postal 1 fell off the index back in 2022, they sent us a letter saying, congratulations, Postal 1 has fallen off the index. Because of its nature, we're going to have to take a look at it again. And they took a look at it again and they rebanned it. Postal 2, we spent a lot of money on a top law firm that specializes in removing games from the index, and they failed. We got railroaded at a hearing, which is crazy to me because Postal 4 isn't any less violent, but they're just
Mhm.
not banning these things anymore. And then we just got Postal 2 and Postal 4 classified in Australia because they weren't in the past. And
Mhm.
both of them got classified in Australia. Postal 2 got an MA15 rating and Postal 4 got an R18 rating, which, I mean, Australia is technically as bad as Germany, but they had no problem giving it ratings. You know, Germany won't even give them ratings, and they have a ratings board. They just flat out ban them. So it
Right.
really sucks. It really sucks. I mean, it sucks on multiple fronts. One,
Mhm.
Germany's a major consumer of games, like top 3 in the world on Steam. But the being on a classification list doesn't mean that a person can't own it there. It just means that a company's not allowed to profit from the sale of it there. And so
Mhm.
Nintendo of Europe is based in Germany. Therefore, anything we put on Switch, which is only Postal Redux and Postal Brain Damage right now, anything that we
Mhm.
put on Switch that is potentially indexed in Europe won't be for sale on the Switch shop in all of Europe. So Postal Redux was ported to Switch. People in Europe can't buy it unless they can find a physical copy, which is very rare.
Mhm.
So it's, you know, this has bigger reaching implications than just the German government saying we don't like this. And it
Mhm.
sucks. I mean, 20 years ago it was funny to say we were banned in certain places. Nowadays it's like that's a lot of fucking money off out of our pocket. It makes designing and developing games riskier because we know that the ROI is going to be lower because we are eliminating one country, if not more.
Mhm.
And then, you know, on top of that, Microsoft won't let our games on Xbox, so we, you know, we're still kind of limited in what we can do.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry. What I was gonna say is like that's strange to me because, well, Postal 2 and Postal 4 are incredibly similar to each other, which is kind of weird. And I tried researching on like if more countries banned Postal, and the only thing that I could find was that it was banned from Germany, banned from New Zealand, and banned from Australia.
Australia's over though. It wasn't banned in Australia. Let me just clarify that.
Okay.
It's simpler. It's simpler to say that when we announce things.
Hmm.
Postal 2 was refused classification back in 2005 by
Right.
the Australian Classification Board. Um, when we recently checked in about it, because we're not just like sitting around checking in on random countries, but they
Hmm.
said, oh, yeah, well, we didn't have an R18 rating back then. We only had an MA15. So you should reapply. Okay. So we reapplied for Postal 4 and Postal 2, and both of them were given classification no problem. And what's even weirder is that Postal 2 was given an MA15 rating. Um, the New Zealand ratings board, as long as you get under an MA15 rating, will honor the Australian classification board rating. But
Hmm.
because it's above a 13 rating, they have to do it themselves. And we haven't approached them again, but we did approach New Zealand a couple years ago about Postal 2, and they basically told us no. So we're
Yeah.
going to try again. Germany might be a lost cause. I mean, there's a certain amount of
Hmm.
time we have to wait to reapply for Postal 2, and I think we're going to do it because it's worth that much goodwill, money, and just being available in a major country. So we'll keep trying. We have this law firm, and they're willing to go to bat for us whenever, but
Hmm.
it sucks. It's an uphill battle every time.
Yeah. I was gonna say it's kind of crazy how Postal 2 in New Zealand so illegal that apparently you can get charged for even owning the game.
Yeah,
That's
they're a whole
that
nother
is
level.
yeah.
I mean, and we're not. Let me clarify with other countries. We're
Yes.
not banned in China. We're not banned in Japan,
Hmm.
but we're not available on consoles there because you do have to get a rating from Zero in China, or in Japan, and then China has their own ratings board, and
Hmm.
they're never. I mean, we approached Zero about getting. They have a rating called a Z, which is meant for like porn and absolutely like violent ass games. And when I
Yes.
approached
Yep.
Zero, they told me, don't even try.
Damn. That's
Like it wasn't even like
crazy.
they were like, yeah, here's how you do it, pay $5,000. What it wasn't any of that. They were like,
Uh-huh.
you're not going to get rated, which was nice of them to not take my money. But
Hmm.
yeah, it would be nice to have Postal 4 available in the European or in the Asian region, but
Yeah.
can't get
Does
rated. So the only place to buy it is on Steam because they
mhm.
don't give a shit.
Doesn't Steam make publishing games easier?
They do. They don't block it on any country unless the country's government or rating board contact them directly, which is why Postal 2 and 4 were removed from Steam briefly in Australia.
Okay. So, sixth question. How does the
Mhm.
team at Running with Scissors collaborate on projects, and what's the dynamic like?
Well, Running with Scissors is a completely online remote studio.
Hmm.
So our team uses Google Business. We use Google Chat to do all of our meetings. We use, similar to this, just video chats or audio chats multiple days a week. We have project management software. And for the most part, everybody just works well together. I mean, we've been doing this, we've been remote since 2009. So it's not like the pandemic all of a sudden made us have to figure this out.
Right.
So they work well together. I mean, could there be improvements? Definitely. But we've done a pretty good job of this for a pretty long time. So,
Okay. So, how has the Postal series evolved since its inception?
well, Postal One is obviously a very different game than everything else. It was a very serious game, a little bit of black
Hmm.
humor, but just mostly just like a game where you shoot people very
Hmm.
darkly, almost horror esque. Postal 2 obviously flipped the switch on that. It's a lot more slapstick,
Hmm.
but it still had a lot of really dark overtones, not a lot of dialogue, very drab look.
Hmm.
Clearly, since then, things took a little bit of a zanier turn. Postal 3, Postal 4, Brain Damage, Paradise Lost, they're all significantly funnier,
Hmm.
more quirky types of games. And I think it was just a product of where we were at the time. You know, Postal 2, we wanted it to be funnier and a little bit more crazy. And we're not even the same team now that we were back then. I mean, the only people that are
Yeah.
still on the team from Postal 2 are myself, Vince, and Josh, who was just an artist back then, but now he's the art director.
Hmm.
The writing's from somebody else, and everything. It's just a different team. We're different people now. That doesn't mean we won't make a more serious game at some point, but we just haven't. So,
So, question number 8 for fan feedback. How important is fan feedback in the development of Postal games?
well, I mean, Postal 4 was purposefully put into early access at such an infant state so we could use the community for feedback. I mean, obviously, we needed the money too, but the whole point of releasing an early access the way we did one day at a time, we incorporated a lot of fan feedback. I mean, just because we're all Postal fans doesn't mean we don't want to see what other people like. And they're not going to make complete executive decisions for us, but we did incorporate plenty of little ideas here and there. Sometimes we unfixed bugs because people preferred the bug than what the intended game mechanic was supposed to be. So we're very big on doing stuff with the community. I mean, we're only here because of the community, and our team is made up of the community. So I mean, I interact with fans every day. It's kind of one of our duties. I mean, me and Vince answer just about every email. I answer just about every comment on TikTok and Instagram and Twitter. Like we spend an exorbitant amount of time interacting with the community, and I think they respect that. So
Yeah. I did email Vince, I think before you, And
Yeah.
I gave him like, he was like, hey, how can we like, do a little interview and stuff. And he was like, well, prefer it over email. And I, gave him similar questions, but since he was like, in the postal thing longer, I kind of gave him more questions about like the behind the scenes of the game and like the development and
Uh-huh.
such. But what I'm asking you is sort of similar to that. But like,
Yeah.
since you're like the marketing guy and all that, I've kind of just changed it a little bit. And I skipped some questions because they weren't
I
kind
mean,
of.
I'm not just the marketing guy. Just
No,
so
I
you
know.
know.
Yeah, I
I
know.
mean,
You're the oh God, how do I say this? I know you're Vince's right hand man, if that's correct, right?
I mean, I have been for 23 years. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm one of the owners of the company.
Hmm.
I'm in charge of business development. I handle licensing. I do handle marketing, PR. I ship all the orders. I run the online store. I interact with the community. I run the TikTok. But I'm also on the dev team. I mean, I help with design, sound recording, things like
Hmm.
that. So, I mean, I really
Yeah.
do a lot of shit that I don't sit around and talk about. But
Right. Yeah.
we all wear 100 hats here, and that's
Hmm.
by design. So.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so for Postal 2, I think your character, in my opinion, I think your character is the funniest with like the dialogue and the screaming.
The mad cow, you mean?
Well, the mad cow, kind of, but like just the regular like you in Postal 2.
Ah, yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. The toilet office, Mike J.
Yeah. I've seen,
Well, thank
yeah.
you.
Yeah, no, I love that. Yeah. And like sometimes I'll like laugh like hysterically out of nowhere because I think that's you who did that weird SpongeBob laugh soundbite in the game. I'm pretty sure that's you,
Yes,
right? Yeah, and the way
yes.
that like the mic just kind of goes bass boosted a little bit. I don't know how to describe it, but like the mic peaks in a certain way and it's just funny and it's out of nowhere and it's hilarious.
Thanks. I also
And
did the terrorist scream, which is a famous.
uh that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's great. Yeah. And then your dialogue with Gary Coleman in Postal 2 was pretty funny too. I'd have to admit.
yeah. Gary was a friend.
Hmm.
It's unfortunate how that ended, but
Yeah. I've watched interviews. I've seen like, you talk about it and how I think you saw him on some court show at one point, if I'm correct.
yeah, I just happened to turn on divorce court, and he was on divorce court with his bitchy ass wife, and it was a
Hmm.
fucking trip to see it. We hadn't really worked with him in a while at that point. Probably had been
Yeah.
4 or 5 years. Um, but yeah, he had gotten married, and I don't know, it was fucking weird seeing him on divorce court. And then, of course, he's dead like 6 months later.
Hmm. Yeah. I've seen I think I've seen a video that somebody recorded. I know it was like a YouTube upload, but it was like in some like Android phone kind of quality, and it was him playing Postal 2 and talking about how it's fun and it alleviates stress.
Android phone quality. That video was taken long before there was cell phone cameras, bro.
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
That
I'm
was
I'm Gen
taken in
Z.
like 2004.
Oh, that was before I was born. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Makes
yeah.
sense. Yeah. Yeah. And then
Literal handheld camera crap. So
oh shit. Oh, with like okay, yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, I saw
yeah.
like the behind the scenes old footage. I saw you guys like at the shooting range, which was pretty cool. And the
Hmm.
Postal Babe photo booth or photo
Yep.
booth? Yeah, the photos were pretty cool. I thought
Yeah, we
the
used to take him and women to trade shows and walk
yeah,
around signing autographs.
I thought the Postal Babe poster thing in Apocalypse Weekend was pretty funny. Where it's like,
Yeah,
oh, this is gonna take all day, and then it cuts to just like the cats just meowing and all that.
that's right.
That was pretty funny, yeah. Um, and then I think I also heard like because I know you guys I think made the audio to have Gary Coleman say what you talking about asshole because he didn't want to say what you talking about Willis or something of that extent.
No, he wouldn't. The line was what you talking about, asshole, and he
Okay.
wouldn't record it.
Yeah.
He wouldn't say it. He said, I'm done saying that. I decided I'm done saying that as of last New Year's.
Hmm.
And we're like, well, we only wanted you in this game for that line. What will
Hmm.
you record? And he was like, I'll record, what are you talking about, asshole? And I was like, cool, because we have another line where we can splice it with Don't You Know Who I Am? And he was like, great, do
Hmm.
it. So we recorded it and we spliced it, and it sounds perfect. And when he heard it years later, he fucking lost his mind. He called me screaming. I told you I wasn't going to record that. I'm like, you
Hmm.
didn't record that. We just made it. He goes, well, I didn't think you'd actually do it. Like, okay,
Yeah.
Gary, well, you got paid. I don't know what to tell you, man. You
I
did
think
exactly
you
as you said you would.
right. Yeah. I think you talked about that on the podcast, I think, if I remember correctly.
Probably.
I think was that the episode with Civi? I forgot, but yeah.
No
Anyway,
idea. We've done
no
enough of
idea.
them. I don't remember shit. I have a bad memory.
No, same. So yeah, let's get on to the questions again. We've kind of went off topic. So these are different ones. So who or what has influenced your work the most in the gaming industry?
I mean, it's not like I have a ton of friends in this industry. We're very sort of cordoned off from everybody, and I'd say
Hmm.
probably Vince. Vince is the most. He's essentially like my second father. He was obviously my mentor when I started here. And I do have a lot of other friends that helped me out early on. Friend Keith from NVIDIA, a few people from NVIDIA actually, Tree, Garrett. These are just people that sort of helped me around the industry. Dave Eddings. Rick Neal. These people were just industry vets that I'd met early in my career, and they just sort of helped me along the way. And I'm one of the few that still works at the same company 23 years later, which is pretty crazy. So
Hmm. Okay. What are some of your favorite games, both from Running with Scissors and from other developers?
currently, my favorite game is Alan Wake 2.
Hmm. Oh yeah, man.
Uh, yeah, I
Yeah.
replayed it, and I don't replay games.
Hmm.
I actually replayed it. And it sort of threw me down a rabbit hole of Remedy games. So all of their games to me are fucking peak
Hmm.
gaming.
Yeah.
Um, Obviously, GTA 5 is one of the few games I've played a lot over the last
Hmm.
decade. And other Rockstar games, Red Dead Redemption 2 was a big one for me. Watch Dogs 2, I really enjoyed. Death Stranding was a big game for me a few years ago. Historically, the games that really got me going, Counter-Strike, the original Counter-Strike 1.6.
Yeah.
And before that, GoldenEye on the N64 and the Mortal Kombat series when I was younger.
Hmm.
But in my adult life, since I started running with scissors, I've actually played a lot less games than I played when I was younger, but I still make sure I spend some time playing games. I mean, the ones I listed are the ones that I've played a lot of over the last few years. And
Hmm.
I'm sure there'll be more. I mean, right now I'm looking forward to the new Outlaws game, the new Star Wars game that's coming out.
Hmm.
Um, and obviously GTA 6. That's really all, all I'm waiting for.
Oh yeah.
That and Death Stranding 2 are what I care about. So,
Yeah. And what I like about Alan Wake 2 is the Max Payne reference Easter egg that's in there.
well, Alex Casey is Max Payne.
Yeah.
We
Because
just
like
don't own the rights to call him Max Payne.
yeah, because they were gonna make remakes, I think, too, from what I've heard.
They are. They're making
Yeah, the
remakes of Max
first and
Payne.
second
Yeah,
game. Yeah.
yeah. Unfortunately, James McCaffrey is dead.
Oh.
So they're either going to have to just reuse the old voice work, or I don't know what they're going to do. I mean, supposedly the Alex Casey character was supposed to have a his own level in the Alan Wake 2 DLC, but he died before they recorded the lines, I believe. So
Yeah.
kind of sucks.
Yeah. Okay. Advice for new developers. What advice would you give to aspiring game developers?
This is a tricky question right now because I'm sure you and everybody that listens to your show knows AI is coming and it's coming fucking fast. Uh, I don't know what the answer is right now, other than it's going to be very hard to future proof yourself in an industry that's going to change very rapidly right now. Um, I believe most game dev jobs are still relatively safe for a while, but they're going to be adapting to utilizing AI. So I believe that any artist, programmer, animator, and even just regular designers, you need to learn the tools that are coming. You spent a lot of time learning to draw, learning to code, learning to animate, learning to model. And these things are still important because obviously at this point, AI is not replacing regular talent, it's supplementing regular talent, but that's going to change very, very soon. Um, and so we need people to stay in the industry. We need people to still work towards making cool stuff, but learn to utilize the tools as they come, because I think the biggest benefit short term for AI is that the work of one or two or three or four or five people can be exponentially utilized when they're utilizing tools that they can use. You know, I mean, it was just like when Photoshop was invented, people used to draw by hand and then they'd scan things in. I mean, then you all of a sudden have a tool that you can use. I mean, these are tools to be used. They're not meant to completely replace people, but they will replace people eventually. And I'm not saying I'm for or against it. I mean, it's just the reality of the situation. So this is a tough question. I mean, it really sucks that a lot of people are looking at a future where artificial intelligence is just going to be used. I mean, this is a business like anything else, and I'm sure there will always be companies that don't use it, but that's just not going to be the standard. And I don't know, 5 years, 10 years, I really don't know. So my advice is learn a craft, get very good at it, and then learn to use tools around it that make your worth even greater.
Mhm. Okay. Yeah. So, how do you engage with the Running with Scissors community and ensure their voices are heard?
Well, the Running with Scissors community spans a large swath of society. I mean, we have a lot of fans from all over the political spectrum, the sexual spectrum, all over the world. And we are trying very hard to just make everybody happy. And that's really hard to do nowadays. So at the end of the day, you know, we like to say we make games that we like to laugh at, and we hope you laugh along with us. So we're just going to keep doing that. You know, we're not making games to try to avoid pissing off liberals or try to avoid pissing off right wingers. Like, that's not what we're doing. We're just making shit we like to laugh at, and what we like to laugh at has changed.
Mhm.
You know, we get a lot of shit for not having terrorists in Postal 4, but like, we were over that joke. That joke was over a long time ago.
Mhm.
We beat it to death. We
Yeah.
put it in every game up until Paradise Lost, where all the terrorists were fucking hot smoking hippies wearing tie-dye robes and turbans. Like, the joke's
Yeah.
over. So
Yeah.
we didn't put him in Postal 4, and then we got called fucking woke for it, and we still get
Oh,
called woke for it. And
Jesus.
and I'm like, okay, well, the game's not woke. Like, there's plenty of mildly racist jokes, and
Mhm.
you know, there's jokes about everybody in that fucking game. There's anti-social justice warrior jokes. Like, I don't know.
Mhm.
We took terrorists out of the game. We didn't make a bunch of line standing missions like we did in Postal 2, and then we get screamed at by the
Mhm.
purists that are like, where's the fucking terrorists? And it's like, it's over. The joke's over.
Mhm. Yeah.
So yeah, it's hard. It's hard. It's a tough line we walk with a very split community. I mean, we have a large community of furry Postal fans. We have a
Mhm.
large community. I mean, we really do span the spectrum here. This is not some like alt-right kids wet dream game. A lot of people play this game, and we talk to them every day. And you know, we gotta make sure we appeal to everybody, and we try.
Oh, wait, 9 minutes of meeting time. Okay. Uh, I think we can get this done. So, what I will say is I do like how Postal is, no longer going to be this like, oh, sort of politically incorrect game and, going to the goofiness. I like that.
Uh-huh.
Well, I mean, I think the direction it was made with Paradise Lost was pretty good. With Postal 3, it kind of gotten really beaten to death, like you said.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
There were some funny jokes. I kind of sucks that Postal 3 was rushed. And there were some like funny jokes.
Rushed. It took 5 years to come out.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, Akela, the controversy, you know what they did.
Well, it shouldn't. It should have been canceled. It should have
Yeah,
never come out.
true.
I mean,
Yeah, it should have.
you're right. They did rush it to market when they were
Hmm.
going out of business, but it should
Yeah.
have just been vaporware.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah. So, how has the community influenced the direction of your games?
I mean, I believe I've answered this a few times. You know, we hire from our community. I mean, our lead designer Ricky, he came from a forum we started posting on back in 2012 called Face Punch, which was a community that really took our Steam push to heart and really helped us out when we got on Steam. And he came from that community, and he's such a Postal fan. He's like a fucking Postal Bible. He knows everything, and he's now our lead designer. So really, I mean, that's the answer. The guy that's writing all of this is the community, and then everybody we hire is from the community. So that's really where it comes from. And yeah, we get emails with ideas. We get all kinds of social media messages that give us ideas. I mean, we do it all. So
all right. Yeah, question 18 is kind of the same. So I think we'll go for the last one finally.
Sure.
Because, you know, we have like 7 minutes left with Zoom. So do you think game developers have a responsibility to address social issues in their games?
Fuck no. Is it their right to do it? Yes. Should they have to? Absolutely not. Having creative freedom is exactly that. If you want to make a game about whatever, that's your choice. If you want to make a game about teaching people politics, cool. If you want to make a game about teaching people how fucking stupid politics are, that's your right. It is a risk at the end of the day, right? Like, you make a game like ours and you may not be able to be on Xbox. You may not be able to be on iPhone. You may not be able to be available in Germany. But if you make a game that's like a fucking kids game, you might not sell any copies. I mean, it's a tough industry. This is a very, very saturated market in every single genre now, and it's very hard to stick out. We're very lucky that we have the history and the notoriety we do, because then we can make stuff and it just gets seen. That doesn't mean it sells well. That doesn't mean it gets reviewed well. It actually means it gets reviewed worse. But you know, we're very lucky to be who we are. You know, most games don't sell any fucking copies at all, and it's you know, we're very thankful that we can still do this, and we've somehow survived being canceled 50 times. I mean, we are the antithesis of what everybody on the other side of the industry wants. That doesn't mean I don't have industry friends. That doesn't mean we don't have a lot of people that support us. But for the most part, people have been trying to put us out of business for a really, really long time. And we're very happy that we're on Nintendo now. We're happy we're on PlayStation. We're very happy we've been on Steam for so long and have such a big community there. It sucks that we can't be on Microsoft. It sucks that we can't be on iPhone. It sucks that we can't be on Android. It really sucks that we're not available in Germany and New Zealand. But we're very happy with where we are. And that's just, I think that as a studio that's done what we've wanted for so long, that's what I would tell other studios: make what you want. And if you're worried about certain things, then tiptoe through it. I mean, it's true. You're spending a lot of money to make this shit. It's probably in your best interests to figure out what won't get you banned in places and what will get you allowed on Xbox and all that fun, because we don't really give a shit. And it's definitely cost us a lot of money over the last, you know, almost 30 years now. And it continues to cost us money. And there's not much we can do about it other than keep doing it and dig in harder.
Okay. We have 4 minutes left. Okay. So with Postal 4, are there any, you know, big updates or anything like that?
We're still working on co-op. Co-op's going to come out at some point before the end of the year. And Workshop is going to come out as well. So finally, people on Steam will be able to mod the game, make their own weapons, make their own terrorists, make the game more racist. I don't know. Whatever people stream at us for not doing, soon people will be able to do it themselves, because you know, the Workshop community for Postal 2 has been huge, and we're very happy to be bringing it to Postal 4. We're kind of sad that it isn't already available, but it'll be there soon.
Okay. Yeah. I feel like somebody's going to like take Postal 4 and then try to like remake Postal 2 with it. With the community.
Good luck.
Good luck. Good luck to them.
Good luck.
Yeah.
That's a big, complex project. There's a reason why we haven't done it yet.
All right. Well, to end this off, do you have any questions for me?
Nope. Fucking thanks for chatting with me, and hope this does well.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Thank you for being on here. And
of course.
Yep. I regret nothing.